Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate the support. In this one, I wanted to speak to you about something that I read one of the commenters say recently. She said something like, I love my mother, so I sacrifice myself for her. And as soon as I read that, I felt like a deep twinge of sadness within me. I felt like, why are we taught this lesson? And it was a female who wrote this comment. And I think it's particularly kind of inclined to females. I shouldn't say females. It was a woman who wrote this message, or someone who identified as a woman, I think. And so, I think it's particularly kind of geared towards women that we are given this message that, oh, if you love me, you should give yourself up for me, right? If you love your children, you give yourself up for your children. If you love your mother, you give yourself up for your mother. If you love your parents, you give up all your dreams, hopes, and desires to live your own life to cater to your parents. If you love your husband or your partner, then again, you do the same. You give up all of yourself so that you can show that, oh my God, I love you. I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. I'm going to let go of everything that I am. I'm going to give up who I am as an individual, as a person, as a human being, to give everything to you, and so that you will know that I love you, right? And I'm pretty sure, as I say, it's an idea geared towards women, but I'm sure men do it as well. Maybe men are taught this idea as well. I'm not sure because I'm not a man, so I can't speak to it. So I'll just speak to it from the point of view of a person who identifies as a woman, why I think that this is actually really, really dangerous, obviously, in this world right now, in general, to believe this idea that if you love someone, then you need to show them by sacrificing yourself. It is the worst idea in the world, and it literally is the reason why there's so much negativity and so many traumas and issues with relationships right now. I'll kind of share my own story so that it gives you a little bit of an example. But as you can imagine, I did sacrifice a lot of myself in my previous years, when I was in my teens, when I was a child, when I was in my teens, when I was in my maybe early 20s. Until that point, I used to do this all the time. I was like, all right, I love my parents. I want them to love me. And in my head, the only way they would love me is if I was a good girl, if I followed the rules, if I was a perfect daughter, if I did everything that they asked me to do, which was basically go to med school, become a doctor, make lots of money, be successful, get married, have children, have lots of money, etc. Right? So it was all related to that. It's kind of funny because I've kind of done none of those things and they still love me. So it kind of shows you how wrong your ideas are in your head. But in my head, I was like, all right, cool. So I want them to love me. I want them to adore me until the ends of time. I want to please them. People-pleasing streak that was in me. And so I did everything I could in order to do that, which is basically sacrificing all of my dreams, desires, hopes, my view of what I wanted to do with my life. I did sacrifice all of that, my own sleep, my own, health in a lot of cases, my own time. I sacrificed all of it so that I could cater to what they wanted me to do. Of course, it didn't work out. You guys already know the story. You've heard it many times before. It didn't work out, thankfully. It didn't work out. And then I kind of was like, all right, obviously that path didn't work out. Let me try my own path. And that did work out. And I'm here right now with a lot of different missteps on the way, obviously. But what I wanted to say is that either way, I sacrificed myself. I was exhausted, tired of not being myself. I resented them for it. I hated them at points for it because I thought they were doing it to me. I was doing it to myself, actually. But I thought they were doing it to me and I was sacrificing myself for them, and they didn't understand and they didn't even appreciate the fact that I was sacrificing myself for them. And I was like, what? Why is this happening? I'm doing all this stuff for you and you still don't appreciate it. And so resentment, building, bitterness, blah, blah. And then here I am, where I'm not doing anything, not even a single thing related to what they want me to do with myself. and they still love me, and we have a great relationship. In fact, nothing related to all that resentment, bitterness that I felt before, the hatred that I felt towards them before, because I thought that they were making me do something that I didn't want to do. And so I wanted to share this because I noticed that in a lot of people is that, oh, they're like, well, if I sacrifice myself for this person, they're going to love me more. No, they're not going to love you more. Maybe they'll love you exactly the same or less, but you, on the other hand, will hate them for it. You'll resent them for it. You'll be bitter against them for it. You will feel all of this anger against them for it. And that will just deteriorate your relationship in general anyways, so that you'll never be able to have a proper, loving relationship. I noticed this, that mothers do this a lot. And again, that's one of the reasons why I don't want to be a mother. One of the many reasons I don't want to be a mother is that I notice my mother does this a lot, where she'll sacrifice herself when no one has asked her to do it for. We have not asked her to sacrifice herself for this, for whatever the reason might be. We don't ask her to do it, but she sacrifices herself, her sleep, her mental health, her sanity, and all of it for us. And then we don't appreciate it because we're like, we didn't ask for it. Why are you doing this? Like, take care of yourself. And so they'll do this. They'll sacrifice themselves for their children or for their families when the families actually haven't asked them for it. And then they'll resent the families because no one appreciates them and no one appreciates how much they've sacrificed themselves. And they kind of get stuck into this loop because they think then, oh, maybe I should sacrifice myself more and then they'll appreciate me. And then still they don't get any appreciation. And then there's more resentment, more bitterness. And as time goes on, the relationship deteriorates further and further and further. Whereas, as you can imagine, what I'm going to tell you is that don't sacrifice yourself, right? Now, I'm not saying completely negate or completely ignore what other people are saying to you or what they want you to do or how they want you to live your life. Now, don't go to the other extreme like I have, where I don't do anything they ask me to do. But I do want you to realize that this false notion that you have in your head, that if you sacrifice yourself, that your relationship with this other person is going to improve and they're going to love you and be admiring of you and going to be completely enamored with you, is as absolutely false. It's based in nothing that's based in reality. It's not real. It's false, and something that you've made up in your own head. It's a story, and it's a myth. And I think we get fed this myth over and over again as women, that, oh, if you sacrifice yourself, everyone's going to love you. No, that is not the case. Don't sacrifice yourself. In fact, if you want to be loved for who you are, then live the life that you want to live. And you'll notice that people don't care either way. They have way too many things to think about on their own. I imagine that my parents would hate me, but they really are so ingrained in their own habits, in their own mind, and their own problems, and their own dilemmas, and their own dramas, that they don't even notice what I'm doing with myself. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We make ourselves this huge center of the story when we're not actually the center of the story. No one actually is thinking about us. And I've said this many times before, because it really is the tweak that you need in order to realize, no, they're not thinking about me. If I sacrifice myself for them, they're not going to appreciate me more. They're not going to love me more. And I don't show other people that I love them by sacrificing myself. It's so important to realize this, because they will not appreciate you for it. They will not. They will not love you more, and they will not understand your love if you sacrifice yourself for them. It's just not going to happen. And I don't know how to say it, because it just won't happen. Like, when that person said that, I sacrificed myself because I love my mother, I believe that she thought that if she sacrificed herself, her mother would be like, wow, you're such a good daughter, and you're sacrificing yourself for me, and I love you, and you're the best daughter in the world. But in fact, what's probably happening is that her mother's like, oh, you're the worst daughter, you're terrible, you don't do this for me. People will always have something else that they want us to do. People will always have something else they want to complain about. No matter what you do, there's always going to be something that's going to be missing out. I've noticed this with my relationships in my life, especially with my parents. No matter what I do, no matter what I did in the past, there was always something that was missing. There's always something that I didn't do. There's always something to complain about. And so at the end, I was like, all right, give up. It's never going to be satisfactory to you. You're never going to be happy with no matter what I do. So why not I just live for my own self? Why not I just live for what I want from my life, what I really desire from my life, instead of sacrificing myself for some people who don't even appreciate it, right? I really wanted to do this video because I know a lot of you are probably stuck in that cycle of, I sacrifice myself for you, so you should love me more, but you don't. Oh my God, let me sacrifice myself more. Oh no, you still don't love me. Oh my God. And really, it kind of sounds really terrible when you look at it like that, but it really is the way it's actually happening right now. You're probably in this mode of, let me sacrifice myself more because this person will love me, and they don't. And then you sacrifice yourself even more, imagining that this person's going to love you, but they don't. And then the cycle repeats itself. And eventually you just give up on the complete relationship, when really what you need to do is do what you want to do for yourself and realize that the person's going to love you either for who you are or not. Either way, at least you're taking care of yourself. At least you're living your dreams and desires. At least you're not sacrificing yourself. At least you're not giving up on yourself. The only person who can take care of yourself is you. No one else can do that for you. All right, I've already spoken enough about this subject. I'm sure it's a very complicated subject, so you might have questions about this. I'll do a follow-up if you have questions. So comment below and let me know what you want me to expand upon, and then I can do another video about that. Again, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.